सच्चिदानंद ओम सच्चिदानंद ओम सच्चिदानंद ओम सच्चिदानंद ओम सच्चिदानंद. Namaste and welcome to the session number 7 of the spiritual aspects of Agnihotra. Last week we have discussed the third mantra of the Ishwar Stuti Prathanopasana. That was Ya Atmada Balada Yasya Vishwa Upasat. And now we should move on to the fourth mantra, namely Om Yah Pranato Nimishato Mahitvai Kidyaja. This is out of the series of 8 mantras that we always recite before we begin the Agnihotra. They are called as Ishwar Stuti Prathanopasana mantra. So we have discussed at length the Trinity, the threefold function of Jnana, Karma and Upasana, and their interplay, and also have discussed in particular related to the Ishwar, Stuti, Pratna and Upasana. Let me read the fourth mantra, and I will read its one paragraph of Padartha from Maharishi Dayanand's book of Panchamahayajyavidhi, and then I will look at his commentary on the Yajurveda, and there he puts in 2 paragraphs, one Padartha and Bhavartha. So Padartha will be read twice, one from his book of Panchamahayajyavidhi, and second time from his commentary on the Yajurveda. So here it is, first time from the Panchamahayajyavidhi. Let me recite the mantra first. Om Yah Pranato Nimishato Mahitvai Ja Jagato Babhuva Ya Ishe Asya Dvipadas Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema. The last quarter of Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhem is coming for the third time in this series, which we have discussed at length 2 sessions ago also. Now the Padarth from the book number 1, Panchamahayajyavidhi. यह जो प्राणतः प्राण वाले और निमिषतः अप्राणी रूप जगतः जगत का महित्वा महिमा से एक ही राजा विराजमान राजा बभू है. यह जो अस्य इस द्विपद मनुष्यादि और चतुष्पद गौ आदि प्राणियों के शरीर की ईशे रचना करता है, हम उस कसमयी सुख स्वरूप देवाय सकल ऐश्वर्य के देने हारे परमात्मा के लिए हविषा अपनी सकल उत्तम सामग्री से विधेम विशेष भक्ति कहें. That was his Padartha from Panchmahayajnavidhi. Now I read again this Padarth paragraph from his commentary on the Yajurveda. This is mantra is 23rd chapter of Yajurveda, third mantra. पदार्थ अगेन, हे मनुष्यों, जैसे हम लोग यह जो एक एक इत ही महित्वा अपनी महिमा से निमिषतः नेत्र आदि से चेष्टा को करते हुए प्राणतः प्राणी रूप द्विपद दो पग वाले मनुष्य आदि व चतुष्पद चार पग वाले गौ आदि पशु संबंधी इस जगत संसार का राजा अधिष्ठाता बभू होता है और यह जो अस्य इस संसार का ईशे सर्वोपरि स्वामी है, उस कसमयी आनंद स्वरूप देवाय अति मनोहर परमेश्वर की हमेशा विशेष भक्ति भाव से विधेम सेवा करें, वैसे विशेष भक्ति भाव का आप लोगों को भी विधान करना चाहिए. भावार्थ. द सेकंड पैराग्राफ. इस मंत्र में वाचक लुप्तोपमा अलंकार है. हे मनुष्यों, जो एक ही सब जगत का महाराजा धीराज, समस्त जगत का उत्पन्न करने आया, सकल ऐश्वर्य युक्त महात्मा न्यायाधीश है, उसी की उपासना से तुम सब धर्म, अर्थ, काम और मोक्ष के फलों को पाकर संतुष्ट हो. So we have seen his words, that of Maharishi Dayanand, both in Panchmahayajnavidhi and his commentary on the Yajurveda, 23rd chapter, third mantra. Let us try to get its meaning from his words that can inspire us much better towards what he is trying to convey to us. So we are looking at the sequence. Just a quick review. The first mantra of Vishwani Dev Savita Dvit, that ab initio seeks his help from that Savita Dev, the Supreme Being, that I am very careful in my life. I want to get away from all kinds of pain and suffering, but yet somehow I get struck by them and I have some painful moments. And I want to get away from them. And obviously, like in my childhood, any pain and suffering, I approached my mother or father. Now, as an adult, I am more mature and I know that you are my supreme mother and father, hence called Savita Dev, and I want to approach you. And here there is a admission. I realize there is some maturity that this sukh and dukh, the joy and pain of life, actually is because I am connected to my mind. It is my mind that brings me sukh and dukh. And if I come to you, you can do a magic that my mind itself is transformed, and then there is less likely of dukh in my life. And that coming to you, coming to your lap is actually upasana, and that is as a precondition that I must bring my mind absolute inactive. Otherwise, I am connected to my mind, and we know the shortcoming of our mind, that through my mind, I can connect to the world only, not to the maker of the world. And if I genuinely want to come to you, I must disconnect from my mind. And that requires me to bring my mind absolutely calm, still, and blank state. That is what is dhyan, samadhi, and upasana. So, when I am truly in your lap, you will wash away all the impurities of my mind, all that is shortcomings and deficiency of my mind, and then I will emerge fresh. Such a daily practice, even twice a day, is upasana, and that will bring a qualitative change in my life pattern. Why should I come to you? And why have you sent me into this world? And that's where I realize that you have, even before you sent me into this world, you have made this beautiful world in such a manner that not only I will find my life, I will find sustenance of my life and all other virtues. That is what is described in the second mantra, Hiranyagarbha Samavartatagya. That even before my arrival in this world, you have made the sun and the earth in such a manner, and you are ensuring that they continue to give me support in all absolute sense. That was discussed in Hiranyagarbha. And then, in particular, you have sent me into this world with my mother and father, whom I loved a lot, and they were giving me the upbringing, and that was discussed in the third mantra, Ya Atmada Balada. So, my consciousness that my Atma Tattva, my Purush, is empowered because it has the consciousness, it has the ability to know, to feel an experience, and to act upon the surroundings, but it doesn't have the means to do that. And those means are acquired by me with your grace via my mind and body domain. That is what is Atmada Balada. And if I continue to live in your shadow, Yasya Chaya Amritam, then I will taste the immortality and get away from pain and suffering in a total absolute sense. Otherwise, of course, I cannot get away from your shadow in a total sense, but I will be Yasya Mrityu. If I don't heed your advice, if I don't come in your shadow, yet unknowingly I will remain in your shadow, but I will be going through the cycle of birth and death forever. Yasya Mrityu. Today we come to this fourth mantra in this sequence, and there is a realization on my part that having given body and mind domain, and my mother and father, and so many other things in this world, you have not withdrawn your hand, your magical hand, from my body mind domain. This is a wonderful realization of the Vedic Rishi that he found in this particular mantra, and there are many other such mantras. And here we are introduced to a new concept, a new domain, namely pranic domain. I am so excited with it, I must say, that we all should be very proud of our Vedic heritage, singularly for this particular component that we are able to appreciate it, namely pranic domain. As I want to say that even the lay person today is very well conversant that we are body, mind, and soul, the consciousness, the self. Three fingers. This has become now common, well accepted norm, at least my that tiny consciousness, that Atma Tattva, that Purush. Otherwise, today the mainstream science is trying to develop an idea that within my body, for them actually there is only one finger, the body domain. And within the body, in our skull, there is something like a brain. Brain, when it is functioning in a particular manner, and that that we will examine today very in slightly more detail. So, from Madam Scientist point of view, the entire world is made of matter, and there is no such Savita there, they think. And they think the matter is governed by certain laws, laws of physics, that it tells us about gravitational force, weak and strong nuclear forces, and such forces, and that are constantly functioning and bringing all these events that we see in this world. But Vedic scientist goes a step further. He the laws of physics. There has to be the lawmaker. He is also the law enforcer. He is enforcing the law, being all pervading what we call Sarvavyapak and Sarvantayami. So for us, there is matter as well as something non-material, that consciousness. And we individuals also have a consciousness, tiny Purush. That supreme being is Purush Vishesh, infinite Purush, whereas I am a tiny Purush residing somewhere in this, maybe in particular somewhere in my head region. And then, in view of the mainstream scientists, the brain itself, when it functions, that functioning very much gives rise to consciousness as well as the intelligence of a common man, human being, what we will call as mind, the thinking power. So, for a modern scientist, it is just the matter and the material neurons in my brain. They function in a particular manner, obeying the natural laws of physics, and they give rise to when we say, I am conscious, and when I begin to function as an intelligent human being. So he does use the term mind. Modern scientist does use the term consciousness, but for him, that is nothing but the resultant of the functions of the neurons in my brain. So actually, he has only one finger. But common man does talk in terms of body, mind, and then he is using the term which he may not be knowing in good detail. He calls it as soul, self, me, whatever it is. So body, mind, and self. We will use this terminology, which is commonly accepted by the masses. Body, mind, and self. But Vedic Rishi has gone one step forward, and that's why I'm keeping my fourth finger in uh, uh, a kind of a hiding for a while, because this will pop out in a moment. There has to be four domains. We just cannot say I am body, mind, and self because of the vision, and that is the originating from this particular mantra, which is began with the term Yah Pranato. So, what is this pran that we want to understand? And it is so easy to understand it that I am body, mind, and self. Okay, let me accept it for a while. But then let's look at the situation when I am in deep, dreamless sleep. That is an event, nobody can deny it. So once in a while, we go to sleep and we have a wonderful deep sleep when I am absolutely out of this world. And there are no dreams, nothing is happening even in my mind. When my body and mind are thoroughly inactive, as far as I, the owner of the body and mind, the end user of the body and mind, is concerned. As far as I am concerned, body and mind are non functional. So please try to recall, which we have had once in a while, if not every night, that dreamless sleep called Shushupti. It's a very important event in our life, and that is kind of a benchmark. We should never forget that. In that state, when I am in deep dreamless sleep, I am not using body. I am not using mind dreams. It is called as a delta sleep or non rapid eye movement, NIEM, fourth stage. So, as far as our sleep scientists are concerned, they have characterized that particular sleep as very deep sleep. Even then, brain is functioning. It is not that brain stops functioning. And that is the point I am coming to you making. That is the point I want to make, that even as I am in deep sleep, so many events are taking place in this particular system. In particular, they are concentrated in five systems, but they are spread over everywhere in the body. So, what are they? So, they are approximately concentrated in the head region. We call it as nervous system. They are in my respiratory system, that my breathing is on. Anybody can see from distance that my chest is or abdomen is expanding and contracting. And my cardiac system, anybody can touch my wrist and feel the pulse. Yes, my pumping heart is functioning, causing a cyclic function of blood circulation. This is a pump in my left side of chest, which causes blood circulation throughout the body. So that pump is functioning. And of course, it could be examined if one goes deeper into that. In my digestive system, whatever I ate in the preceding hours, that is going through all sorts of complex chemistry. Chemists tell us that even if I eat a simple cookie, about 40,000 compounds are formed, and all that kind of thing finally gives rise to what we call energy. So the food I have eaten is being digested, and then there is a renal system. There is a lot of things are happening even when I am in deep sleep, namely detoxification of the system. And all the waste products are being accumulated, and at the right time, they are discharged, thrown away. So, that are five systems: the nervous system, the cardiac system, respiratory system, and digestive system, and renal system. And indeed, Vedic rishis told us that these are five forces that are working non-stop in background, so that as and when I wish to use my body and mind, my system is available and I can use them. If they stop functioning even for a moment, I am about to collapse. There is likely to be a stroke if my brain stops functioning. If my cardiac system stops functioning, there is likely to be a heart attack or cardiac arrest. So I have very few moments to bring the system in normalcy. Otherwise, the entire system will collapse. If my breathing stops, I will collapse. These are, and even in medical terms, they are called as non voluntary forces. Why are they called non voluntary forces? Because I don't do voluntarily. At this point, I am speaking, I am thinking, putting my ideas into words and sentences and speaking out. I am engaged in thinking and speaking. You are engaged in listening and making sense out of the words I am speaking. But our five background forces are working in the background. It is not that we are paying attention to do the breathing. We are disconnected from our respiratory system, but somehow the breathing is happening by itself. The fact it is happening by itself is Vedic rishis called it as panic domain, and modern scientists calls it as non-voluntary forces. So even scientists recognize that there are a lot of things are happening which I don't consciously initiate. I am in deep sleep, deep slumber, out of this world. But these forces continue to work. And Vedic rishis clubbed them together and called it as Pran. But there are five broad forces and they gave five terms. Pran, Apan, Vyan, Saman, Udan. So Pran is my ability to, so this approximate, won't go into that detail. So the five forces I approximated at nervous system, cardiac system, respiratory system, digestive system, and renal system. They correlate with five terms, not exactly in the same order, that I am not very much concerned at this moment. So I will say five terms are Pran, Apan, Vyan, Saman, Udan. And this family as a whole is also referred to as Pran. So the term Pran may refer to the whole family, like in this particular mantra I recited, or it may refer to one particular force out of these five. That is gives you the background. So that's why I was saying we have four fingers: the body, mind. Sorry, I should have put this finger. It should be body, mind, and self. And between body and mind is the pranic force. So body, pranic force, mind, and me. So we have. So the layperson's description that has become very common in today's world, body, mind, and self, is not a complete description. It must be revised to body, pranic domain, mind, and me. So that is what Vedic rishis knew it, and from the Vedas, and they have told us, and we should be very proud of this, that we know it direct from the source of the Vedas, and we appreciate it. This is a great invention, if I could say it, of the Vedic scientist, that we are not merely body, mind, and self, we are body, pranic domain, mind, and self. What does this do? This is ensuring that when I want to use body and mind, they are available for me. When I wake up in the morning after the deep, dreamless sleep, yes, I can use body and mind because my pranic forces were working non-stop in the background. If they collapse, I am gone, then I cannot use body and mind and I will go away. So, what is the significance of this mantra after the Atmada Balada? Atmada Balada said that I, the Atma, has been empowered with the force of the body and mind. And now I am a independent individual being as I am born. The moment I am born, I am a individual independent human being. But then how is the life sustained? So that is he is giver of the life forces. But then how do I sustain my life forces? Because he takes care of me in the background. He doesn't leave me alone. He is always with me and he is ensuring that my non voluntary forces always continue to function. That is why this is very important to know that we have given so many names to that Supreme Being, and one of them is Pran also. So remember, now Pran has third meaning. Prawn was the meaning for the entire family of non-voluntary forces. Prawn was the meaning of the one of the particular non-voluntary force. And now we learn Prawn is also the name of that supreme being because he only ensures that in the background my non-voluntary forces function. The fact I am able to breathe, as I said, I am paying no attention to my breathing at this moment. I am fully concentrated on my presentation, on what I speak to you. But then breathing is happening. Breathing is happening by cyclic force. For example, when I breathe out, there is a slight compression here. The force, the pressure, we know it that fluid is flowing due to the pressure difference that acts as the potential. Like electricity flows due to the temperature difference. If something has a higher temperature and on the right side there is a lower temperature, heat transfer will take place from left to right, isn't it? If there is a air or any other fluid, say water, if the pressure is higher on this side and is lower on this side, then air or water will flow from higher pressure to lower pressure. Electricity flows from higher voltage potential to lower potential value. Electricity flows due to the potential difference in voltage. So heat flows due to the potential differential in temperature. Electricity flows due to the potential differential in voltage. The fluid flows due to the potential difference in pressure. So when there is a pressure buildup in my respiratory system due to the diaphragm coming up, which is kind of a piston, it builds up the pressure here so that the pressure in my lungs is more than in atmosphere and that causes air to come out. That is my exhalation, expiration of air the time I breathe out because of pressure difference that has been caused by that diaphragm. And now the diaphragm goes down, that is acting like a piston going down, that creates a suction. And now that pressure in my lungs is less than the atmospheric pressure. So the fresh air moves in through my nostrils and my diaphragm is sucking in fresh air from the atmosphere. So this is a cyclic process, diaphragm moving up and down, acting like a piston and causing the flow of air through my nostrils and air pipe. But this is such a life support mechanism, and that is the beautiful design of the Savita Dev that in case my nasal passage is blocked due to cold and running nose or whatever it is, sinus passage is blocked, yet I can do the breathe in, breathe out through my mouth. Both connect to the air pipe. Of course, it is healthy practice to breathe through the nostrils, but in emergency, I can breathe through my mouth also. Now, somebody can say that breathing is happening due to the cyclic function of the diaphragm. Then the question arises, why that is? What is the cause of that? Why is diaphragm moving up and down? What force makes it go up and down? Of course, there is no such visible thing. You can never see the force. You can always see the movement due to the force. Force called a movement. You can see the movement when somebody is pushing the desk. I can see the desk moving. I can see the person is pushing it, but I cannot see that force. In the same manner, I can see that my diaphragm is going up and down, but I cannot see the force that makes that diaphragm work like piston non-stop. It is it is like I can see the earth is supported by the sun. But then the question arises, how is the sun supported? Then we say, okay, the entire solar system of ours is going around a galaxy of Milky Way, and there is a super center there, maybe a super sun, that is supporting our sun and the solar system. But then the question arises, how is that super sun is supported? So this is an inquiry called ad infinitum. It is endless. At one point, we have to admit that there is a intelligent being that is supporting all this. In the same manner, the diaphragm is made to move up and down by an invisible force, and that force is called power, and we say that is that supreme being. And that is what is described in this particular mantra, Yah Pranato. That supreme being is the Pran who causes all these non voluntary forces so that, let me do it this way, so that body and mind are functional and so that this entire domain, what I call me, is livable for me. If these forces stop functioning, then what happens? I cannot use body and mind, and I find that this entire system is no more livable for me, and I depart from here. And once I depart from here, no matter what you do to my cardiac system, no matter what you do to my brain, I don't come back. I am permanently unconscious, and that is what is called death. So, death is a very unusual event in the Vedic terminology. Two things are happening simultaneously, almost simultaneously. And I will try to describe why I need to use the term almost. First, let us understand what are these two events happening simultaneously. I am pointing out these two fingers. This is the pranic domain, the non voluntary forces that are concentrated approximately in the five systems that I have described already. These are the pranic forces. And this is me. I am using this whole system. I am the end user. I am quite the owner, but in a limited sense, I don't quite own my body and mind. Kasya svidhanam. This is not quite my property. I have to understand it. It is more leased out to me. I am merely an end user, not quite an owner. Or I have an ownership for a very temporary period. Just like you rent out a house, you live in as if you are an owner, but you have the right to use it, enjoy it, but you don't quite own it, is it not? The same applies to this system of ours. I live here temporarily, and as if this whole house has been leased out to me, and the house comes with its utilities. These are my pranic forces. And then my closest suitcase that I brought with me was my mind domain when I first entered into my house. And these utilities are my pranic force. There are ways to explain all this. But let me come to the process of death. When the death arrives, two things are happening. This, these forces stop functioning. And then, as soon as they stop functioning, I depart from this body domain. Along with my mind domain, I walk out. And then what is left out is this so called dead body, where certain chemistry may take place, continue to take place. But that chemistry is not pranic domain. That chemistry is merely decomposition of the body. This is an organic thing like a piece of vegetable. If you leave it just like that, a cauliflower, moment after moment it is degrading. And then it becomes a rotten stuff. You have to throw it, isn't it? In the same manner, our body is decomposing. That is a different kind of chemistry because now that pranic forces are no more there. If the pranic forces are there, then that sort of decomposition is not allowed to happen. Though the body may be aging, getting older, yet it is not decaying in that sense when as it happens in a dead body. So you have to be very careful. A lot of complex chemistry is taking place, but in a dead body it is just one way process, degradation. When somebody is alive, then there is a cyclic process that is called pranic function. Even though the body overall, for a child, the body is evolving. So there are different kind of chemistries taking place, evolving up to I become youth. Then there is a slide down. Now I am getting older, and now the curve is on the downslide. That is also the chemistry of the overall body domain. But this chemistry, when I become dead, the dead body has a very fast degradation process. So that degradation is very, very fast, and within a matter of few days, the body gets rotten. So this is a different chemistry than that of aging. So let us understand all this. Now, as long as I am alive, the body chemistry is going through such a curve, sinusoidal curve, and that is happening because there is a superimposing cyclic force. Every moment there is a cyclic force that keeps my body alive, and that cyclic force is called as pranic forces, which is always there non-stop. So this particular mantra is appreciating. We are deep in appreciation towards that Savita Dev, that not only you gave me body and mind, you gave us a mother and father, and it is your supreme kindness that you continue to function in my background every moment, even when I am deep in slumber. You ensure that all my vital systems function in a particular cyclic process so that as and when I wish to use my body and mind, I can use them in a very conscious manner. That deep appreciation of that Savita Devs, he doesn't abandon us. My mother and father may not be able to take care of me moment to moment. And there will be a day when my mother and father will get old and die away. But this is a supreme mother and father, the Savita Dev, who is always with me, always ensuring every moment that my body and mind are usable. And comes a day when he decides that body is no more livable. He says it's time to leave this body. And then he withdraws his hand. My panic force says, calm down. And as they calm down, I wrap up my body, my mind domain, and depart from the system. So, two things are happening simultaneously. The panic forces get subdued, and I, along with my mind domain, as I described in my earlier part somewhere, me enveloped by my mind like a thumb in a fist. I somehow had entered into my father's body, invisible to the world. And in the same way, I leave out from this tiny cave here somewhere called as Hidaya Guha. I leave out invisible to the world again. And in the remaining moment, I'm so excited with this particular mantra and the whole concept of panic force. I think we will continue to discuss it next week also. At this point, I am just talking Yapanato. Then I will come to Nimishato and many other ideas here. Also touch upon the Upasana because we heard in the term Upasana came again here in Maheshi Dayanand's Padat. But let me speak a few words on almost. I said two things happened simultaneously and then I corrected myself almost simultaneously to describe the event of death. I said the pranic forces cease to function and me, I pick up this my suitcase of mind domain and leave out from this body domain. Why did I use the term almost simultaneously? Because there are instances when pranic forces don't collapse abruptly. There is a slight time gap, there is a time duration. Let us imagine a case a person is going through massive cardiac arrest, a pinching pain in the chest, and that may develop to the left shoulder and so on and so forth. And if he feels it correctly, that his heart is complaining tremendously. And if he is in the right place, he can seek medical help. Ambulance arrives in time. So maybe they are just 5, 7 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. And if he is in the right circumstances in the emergency facility of a well equipped hospital, then they do all kinds of things, put a lot of weight on his chest. Sometimes the hips also get broken because this pump has got blocked. Some connection is blocked. A particular one or more arteries are blocked suddenly, and there is no fresh supply of oxygen to the chest, to the lungs, and even blood cells are now they demand oxygen, but it is not coming. So it's a total shake-up of the system just because this pumping heart is not able to function in a normal manner. But within that time duration, if the right help comes in right time, maybe things can be restored. But if it doesn't happen, then there is total failure of the pumping heart and the person is declared dead. But now, in such a situation, the collapse of the non-voluntary force, namely cardiac system, didn't happen abruptly. It gave some warning signals. So there was a time duration of 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So that time duration is saying, taking care of the term almost. But yes, still it is simultaneous that at one moment the cardiac system absolutely gave up. It says, now no more revival. At that moment, cardiac system came to a position that it could not be revived. Even doctors gave up the help. So at that particular moment, non-voluntary forces failed, and the tenant of this body domain, how was I doing it? Yes. Tenant of this body domain leaves away from this. So it is together failure of the non-voluntary forces and departure of this self with the mind domain. Two events are simultaneously happening. It just depends the occasions and how do you interpret that those occasions when cardiac arrest or stroke or certain things can be provided the emergency care and he can be revived. But then you don't say that that person has been brought alive. What you say is the person was very near to death and has been brought back to life. But if somebody is dead, dead in the sense the self has departed from the system, then there is no more possibility to revive him. So that was our discussion. This mantra may absorb 2 sessions, I hope. So we will devote next session also to this. But I want you to appreciate the beauty of his design and his glory, stuti, his pratna. We seek his shadow, and finally, all this can happen much better if I spend some moments direct with him in Upasana. Thank you all for your attention. We'll meet again next week.